Ask me anything. What's today's date? It's September 25th, 2025. So let's go ahead and kick it off. Get the questions called up, and I got some shout outs to do first of all. And let me say this before we start. If you're new to Linchpin, if you're thinking about joining and signing up, first of all, you should. It's going to change your life for the better. But Linchpin is basically in this chaotic, crazy world that we live in, full of drama and whatever you want to say, whether it's in real life or online. Linchpin is a fitness oasis. No drama, none of that outside world noise. It is a community where we just focus on fitness, help each other achieve their goals, we support one another, people from all around the globe coming together, unified, because they're trying to improve their long-term health and fitness. That's what Linchpin's all about. So that sounds good. Come on board. All right, here we go. Oh, the shout-outs. Man, I've been running around. It's not your fault. It's my fault. Today's just been one of those mornings. You know, every now and then, life be lifing. Today's one of those times. So this is from John D. Remember the other day we had that burpee extravaganza that we hadn't seen since 2017? The first one was 50 burpee pull-ups for time, rest 5 minutes, 50 burpee box jump overs, rest 5 minutes, 50 bar facing burpees. I could describe my feelings on that, but I would have to use profound vulgarities to do it. That was a dirty bird, let's just say that. But John D., who's been there since 2017, by the way, went ahead and said, haven't done this since 2017, and I think we all know why, because who wants to do this? But he says, but what doesn't make sense is a PR on all three parts of it 8 years later. How cool is that? 8 years older, you PR on all of them. So he got on the first one. How much was his PR on the first one? I got this here somewhere. His PR on the first one, he PR'd by 19 seconds. On the second one, he PR'd by, the second one he went from 6 minutes and 3 seconds to 5:37. And then on the final one, he had a 30-second PR. So, John, well done, my friend. Well done. This next one, I actually posted this on the Linchpin Instagram today and on our X account as well, from Jake C., strongman in the community. So he's a competitive strongman, likes to lift heavy things, and he went ahead and signed up for Linchpin quite a while ago, and he's been using Linchpin as his base of strength and conditioning and fitness, and he sprinkles in his strongman stuff for an upcoming competition he has going on. But here's the coolest thing. In the video that I posted on Instagram, he's doing his final set of stone to over a bar, stone lifts, and he says, it's cool that I'm still within striking distance of my best stone strength after 9 months of CrossFit and losing 30 pounds of body weight. And then he shows his last set, which is 4 reps with a 220-pound Atlas stone over a 55-inch high bar. So that's pretty cool. It's funny, don't you hear that stuff every now and then? How are you going to get strong? I want to work out a day. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Man, this next one from Catherine P. I interviewed Catherine as a Linchpin member interview a while ago. She is a cancer survivor, and she went ahead and did Test 13, which comes out, as we all know, to 5 miles of running and 210 burpees. And she says, let's see, this was by far the hardest workout that I've ever done. There were multiple points where I thought my lunch might come up. I knew from the start that my goal would be just to finish it, and I did it. October 9th will mark 6 months from chemo, and I'm super proud. So she did it in 132 minutes and 26 seconds. You want to talk about mentally tough? That is profound. Okay, let's dive into what we have today. Here we go, Linchpin. First one from Craig S. I was inspired to do a HYROX race from one of your Linchpin conversations, and I'm doing it in November in Chicago. Very cool. How would you suggest tapering with respect to the Linchpin workouts I'm still doing 5 days a week as I ramp up? So I'll give you the easy answer, which is anyone who has a love for endurance events and obviously is in the Linchpin community, go into the BTW app, the Linchpin squad, and tag a gentleman by the name of Ryan Stafford. Okay, and I think two F's, Ryan Stafford. He is the point of contact for the unofficial Linchpin Endurance Squad, which is full of beautiful maniacs like yourself using Linchpin and preparing for half marathons, full marathons, triathlons, HYROX races, or whatnot. So if you get yourself into that group, you'll be totally good to go, and that's what they do all the time. I would say, honestly, it just depends on how serious you're taking the HYROX racing event. Are you doing it just for fun, or like this is profoundly serious to you? If you're doing it just for fun, truth be told, I think you could just take one day off beforehand, show up and do the race. And I know that you could. You could take no days off and show up and do the race. Now, if you want to have your body feeling the best possible, I would take the day off before it. And maybe for the 2 previous workout sessions before that, I would go ahead and lower the intensity down on those sessions so they don't, leave a mark and have you, overly sore or your legs extra tired or whatnot. So that you're walking into that race with fresh legs, fresh lungs, grip strength's good for the farmer's carry, all that good stuff. You're going to go below parallel on the wall balls. So that's what I would do, and I think you'll have an absolute blast. And Craig, let us know how it goes. I would actually like to do one myself to look fun. Jake C. Jake just talked about Jake doing the strongman stuff. What is your thought process on programming the accessories? If you describe it in your programming book, I apologize. I don't think I do in the programming book. And then DV chimes in, says he's curious as well. It often seems that the same muscle groups will show up in the accessory work for the day that happens in the workout, which sometimes means he skips them because those muscles are pretty fried anyway. I know they're optional, etc., etc. So yes, first of all, we'll put things, well, I guess I should give it the little accessory talk in general, right? Accessory work, optional as always, and I truly mean that. You don't have to do a single piece for the rest of your life to get very fit. If you want a little something extra, the accessory work is a great thing to do. If you have an area that if you really take an honest assessment of yourself, and maybe it's an area that's holding you back and you could use a little bit of extra attention there, then on the days where that area gets addressed in the accessory work, that might be something. Maybe it's your overhead strength. Maybe it's your pull-up capacity. Maybe it's your conditioning. Maybe it's your midline. Maybe it's below parallel. Whatever it happens to be, that can be a great thing to do there as well. And if you are going to dabble with the accessory work, I would recommend not just going just whole hog in right at once. If you work out 5 days a week, you want to start playing with the accessory work, do the accessory work every other day and see how it treats you. Don't do all the accessory work. Cut it in half or something. Do kind of a crawl, walk, run approach. Do you feel good? Is it actually too much for you? Like find that balance. If you're feeling good, you can add on from there, etc., etc. So that's how I would use it. Do you have an area that needs to be addressed? And we will oftentimes put things in there which maybe aren't things that we would regularly put into the workouts most of the time. Like, for example, a Turkish get-up is a really nice movement for sure, but you won't see it often in workouts for time and whatnot because it doesn't play itself well for time and things like that, but great for range of motion, shoulder stability, overhead strength, and whatnot. So that's a great one that we put into the accessory work. Or a lot of times in the workout of the day, if you're going overhead, maybe it would be through thrusters, push press, push jerk, an explosive movement or something like that. We most certainly will also program strict shoulder press and whatnot. But since that's a slower one, that also doesn't play well on a workout that's done for time. So although we will get in strict pressing for sure, maybe on a day that had some shoulder stuff going on in it, you might see some strict shoulder press afterwards. Could be nice to get in some strict work. Maybe it'd be some midline work that again doesn't play well in a workout of the day, like bear hugging a sandbag for 3 to 5 minutes or whatnot. Probably not going to see that in the workout of the day, but a wonderful midline component that would make its way into the accessory work. Some conditioning things, bar hangs, over the chin bar holds, great upper body conditioning, things like that. And you're absolutely correct that we are 100% going to do similar muscle groups that were used in the workout of the day, because that's also why you want to make sure you're ready for it. And if you need to take a break, between the workout of the day, if you do choose to do the accessory work 10 minutes later, 30 minutes later, an hour later, whatever works for you. But think about this. Let's take below parallel for an example in doing the same muscle groups. Let's say we go below parallel twice a week, okay? And we're intentionally not going to go below parallel 2 days in a row, because we want to pay attention to our gross movement patterns and give a couple days rest before we go below parallel again. That's why things work so well, because we're not overtaxing the athletes unnecessarily. So if we take in this example, if on a couple of the other accessory work days we put in below parallel work, well, then you're never actually giving that athlete a break on below parallel, because now instead of like the 2 or 3 days that you're going to have that was a break from going below parallel, well, now you hit it in the accessory work, and then you know what probably happens? You don't recover enough. And then when that other regular daily training session comes up, you're not quite as prepared to do that, and you're wondering why you're actually regressing and not doing well. So that's why we will target the same muscle groups. Maybe it's something like Fran, for example. Fran's a beast, okay? A beast. We all know that. 2159 thrusters and pull-ups. And it might take you 20 minutes to recover from Fran. But there's not a ton of volume in Fran, 45 thrusters and 45 pull-ups. But doing it so quickly makes it feel like a nuclear bomb went off inside of your colon. And so, but plenty of people, after a bit of recovery, could do a chin over bar hold. That's similar movement pattern, a similar muscle groups. Could do some Turkish get-ups, or 3 sets of 10 on the shoulder press, or whatever it happened to be. And so that's why it will absolutely be in line with whatever took place in the workout of the day. So you're 100% on call for that. And I think that's actually mission critical, just based upon that squat example that I said, because if you then put it on other days, that athlete never, ever, ever gets that extraordinarily important break on those muscle groups. Like, you get stronger if you're squatting, for example, in the next couple of days when you let those muscles recover, and then they come back stronger. And if you never let them do that, it's not going to work well. Okay. Patrick S. Being a permanent Leo, aka limited equipment option, aka dumbbell crew, I'm fascinated with programming. I've always been curious about this. What would your programming look like if you had no access to a barbell and had everything else to work with, including sandbags, especially on heavy days? My nose is getting stuffy, sorry. And how different or similar would it be to the present limited equipment programming? If somebody used your ebook to program but had no barbell for heavy days, how would they do it? So if they had no barbell, they would just do the limited equipment option for sure. But if you're also saying that you've got a nice array of sandbags, well then I would absolutely use those, and especially like on some heavy days. As we all know, like the dumbbell workouts deliver the goods. Okay, people get ferociously fit, fast, and strong doing that, but we're assuming that they have limited equipment. By its very nature, it's in the name, it's limited. Now, if you're saying, yeah, I'm limited, but I got these other toys here that not everybody has, but I got them. How would I use them? I would absolutely do some heavy sandbag work every now and then. Let's say it's a day where there were heavy power cleans, okay? And we're assuming that people just have, on the men's side of the house, up to a pair of 50-pound dumbbells. But you've got a 150-pound sandbag, and it's 7 sets of 1 power clean. I would absolutely be doing some ground over the shoulder with that heavy sandbag. 100%. That would work great. I wouldn't need that heavy sandbag on Fran or Helen or a bunch of other days, but on a heavy day like that, absolutely. What if it's a 5x5 back squat day and you've got sandbags? Then whatever you can, I guess if you're comfortable in the shoulder, I'm not. Whatever you can bear hug, I would be doing bear hug sandbags with that 150, or if I've got a 200-pound sandbag, bear hug sandbags with that 200. 100% would take advantage of that. So if you've got those things, use your fitness IQ and have an absolute blast. Oh, what does this say? Let's see. Stand by here. Let me get some caffeine. So good. All All right. Zachary C. Hey, Pat, I apologize if this has been addressed previously. Zach, I don't accept your apology. I'm sorry. I'm joking, obviously. I fall into the limited equipment section, dumbbell crew. Got a couple pairs of dumbbells and kettlebells. The same question I'm sure could be applied to different movements. When doing dumbbell squats, it's the discomfort in my shoulders that typically fails first. Got poor flexibility. I've played around with and will continue to play around with different positions. However, to preserve the intent of the programmed workout, would you be in favor of quote unquote burning out, let's say the legs, prior to starting the assigned workout? For example, doing Tabata squats, Tabata air squats, and then roll into, say, Saturday's workout. My hesitation is you have great focus on not too much volume. However, I personally feel I miss the intent because you can't hold the dumbbells for the dumbbell squats. That's an interesting one. Okay, so you're the limited equipment crew and poor flexibility. You can't really get those dumbbells up there for dumbbell squats. I wonder, is there anything else, could you hold them in the hang? Maybe it's not ideal, but you're still squatting with the dumbbells. Maybe if dumbbell squats don't work for you, like, hey, here's the deal, right? There's what's ideal and there's what's real. Real life doesn't care about what's ideal. What would be ideal? You don't have flexibility issues. You've got no problem holding the dumbbells up there. Squat all day long. It's great. That's not your real life. I know you're trying to fix it, but that's not ideal, right? That's your real life. So it doesn't matter what's ideal. This is the situation that you're in. And so, well, let's just do some modifications. Will they be exactly the same? No. Will you preserve the stimulus and be totally fine on planet Earth? 100% yes. So as you work on that flexibility, you can't dumbbell squat. You could do what you're saying, kind of the Tasmanian devil approach, like, and if I'm thinking about this, it's like, okay, maybe I can do dumbbell Fran with 50-pound dumbbells, okay, and it's a fictitious me, okay, and this athlete's a beast. They can do it unbroken. They've got a 240 dumbbell Fran, lays them on the ground afterwards. They're devastated, but they do it unbroken with a pair of 50-pound dumbbells, 2 minutes and 40 seconds. And they're traveling somewhere, and they're like, okay, today's Fran. I'm going to hit Fran. They look around, and they've got no 50-pound dumbbells. They've only got a 35-pound pair of dumbbells, and they know that the 50s is the appropriate challenge. They never have to put them down, and again, they're smoked afterwards. And they're like, well, I'm not going to really go, maybe I'll go 10 seconds fast, but not much with the 35-pound dumbbells. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do Tabata air squats, and then grab the 35-pound dumbbells and immediately do Fran. That's kind of crazy and kind of cool and kind of something that I would try if I was in that situation. Because look, here's the deal. We're just working out. I'm going to learn after I do that you know what? It seemed kind of wild, but or maybe it's not a full Tabata. Maybe it's a half Tabata, meaning there's some level of experimentation that's probably appropriate and will be perfect for what you're talking about. But you're probably not going to find that sweet spot the first time that you try it. It will either probably go quite wrong, where you're like, what did I have done? I made a terrible mistake. I should never have done that. The next 2 days I couldn't use the toilet or walk upstairs. Okay, lesson learned. Next time, not doing the full Tabata. I'm gonna do half, or you start with a quarter Tabata, and then you hit it. You're like, yeah, it did make it harder, and I got closer to the stimulus, but I actually underestimated myself. I could have dosed myself up a little more. Like that experimentation is probably unavoidable. So you could try that. And actually, I'm genuinely curious to see how it would go, so post about that. Where was I going with this? But maybe the other end of the spectrum is just, you get something going on, those dumbbell squats are never going to happen. Okay? You can do what you're saying, or you're just going to be Captain Bulgarian Split Squat. If you're Captain Bulgarian Split Squat, you are an animal. You've got no below parallel strength issues. Or you're just going to lunge yourself into oblivion every time. You're not going to be shortchanged with that either, because with the Bulgarian split squats, you can hold them in the hang. With dumbbell lunges, you can hold them in the hang. You're going to do box step-ups, like whatever it happens to be, you've got some choices there. 100% you've got some choices. Let's see. From Haley M. Question about assault runners. Can you talk about why in programming you say to reduce the running distance by 25% on the air runner? Is this the case with all assault runners? Short answer, no, and that's why it's so very annoying and very challenging. Let's see. We bought ours in 2024, so I thought the newer ones, it might not need to be adjusted. I haven't found the sweet spot. I don't usually adjust distance, but I do think my times are a bit slower. But reducing it by 25% seems to make me unrealistically fast. Wouldn't we all like to be unrealistically fast? I'd rather do more than less, so I'm fine to continue the same distances even if I'm a little slower than most. I'd just be curious to hear more about why the 25% distance adjustment is recommended and if this does not apply to new air runners. Oh, Haley, I'm sorry. I wish I had a simple answer for you. So that's just a general statement. But the truth is, not all air runners are the same, and it's really, really frustrating. Some of the new air runners are calibrated or have had a software update that apparently you don't need to adjust the distance at all. Not at all. It's just, if it's supposed to be a mile, you do a mile and you're good to go. Some of the older ones are not calibrated, don't have that software update, and then you do need to reduce the distance. But that 25% reduction may not be spot on for your air runner. So I'll tell you, in my garage, I have the one from Rogue. It's a Woodway, right? Yeah, it's a Woodway that did a deal or partnership or collaboration, whatever, with Rogue. That one is not one for one. I can tell you that. Like, I absolutely need to reduce the distance on that thing, but not 25%. I've played with it a whole bunch, and 25% is just a smidge. It's close, but it's a smidge too much. And like you're saying, I'm not unrealistically fast, but I'm a little too fast then. I've found for my air runner, 20% is the magic thing. So if I'm supposed to run a mile outside, I hop on my air runner and I run zero point 0.8 of 1 mile, 80%. It's perfect. When I do 400 meter repeats, instead of running, 0.25, which would be a quarter, 0.25 of 1 mile on my air runner, I run 0.2, which is a 20% reduction, because 20 a 20% reduction of 25 is 20, so 0.2, perfect. But it's taken me some experimentation to figure that out. So I would just, if you know yourself pretty well, it doesn't have to be like that it's spot on or it's 25%. That's just a general guideline. So for you, maybe it is 20%, maybe it's 15%, and you can go ahead and play with that a little bit. It's tough. I wish there was just one standard across all air runners. That would make life so much better. Okay. Next one from Dave R. I see you, Dave. Dave says, as a former Navy SEAL, please explain how you let a few cookies disrupt your sleep. He just says, haha, purely just for fun. So yeah, I tell you what, yeah, if I do eat sugar these days, too late. It just messes me up. It didn't used to be that way. I could like throw down a pint of ice cream and then go to bed, but Father Time, it just creeps up. Creeps all the time. Yeah, and now if I get sugar too late, the sleep is just in the toilet. On a totally different note, what's funny is even back in the old military days, I was never a great sleeper. I mean, we could be so tired where everyone else would just pass out. And I would just toss and turn. And I'm like, I'm exhausted. Why am I not sleeping? So maybe it's always been that way. Okay. Oh, Brian T. Here we go, Brian. I'm trying to convince a friend to respect the heavy days. I know you've covered this on previous AMAs, so any help in dialing in my search is appreciated. Okay. So, you can't save them all, Brian. You can't save them all. I hope your friend comes around. I'm always, this makes me think about the individual is escaping me now. Who was I interviewing? It was for very not random. Oh, a couple of people popped to mind. I think it was Lawrence Chalet, maybe I was interviewing. Like, one of the strongest men in the entire world. And I was telling him how, like, a lot of CrossFitters think that they need to, like, do this heavy thing every single solitary day, and it's going to work out 6 days a week. And he was like, well, that doesn't make any sense. And I was like, yeah, I know. I wish I could convince people of this. I also interviewed somebody for Very Not Random who had like, was it a squat or a deadlift that was 800 pounds? Super strong individual over in Europe. A squat or a deadlift, raw athlete, natural athlete. And he only trained that lift one time per week. That's it, one time per week. Anyway, because they understood the idea of intensity and bringing a lot of intensity to that training session, and then rest. You actually have to rest. But Brian, here are some Linchpin conversation episodes that might help your friend out. I got a bunch here, and so he may not need all of them, but Linchpin Conversations 408, which is Minimal Strength and Conditioning Explained. It's 408. Then 406, well, that's Linchpin Explained in plain English. 341 is entitled Lift Less Frequently and Get Stronger. Conversations 367 is entitled Heavy Lift plus Metcon equals Mediocre Results. And the final one that he might benefit from is Conversation 559, which is entitled Lifting Heavy and the Central Nervous System. So you can pause this, go back and check those, and I think that'll treat you well. Okay, we've got a couple more questions from the Linchpin Squad and the BTWB group, and then we are off to the races. I like this one. Okay, from Christopher J. If you had to shorten or skip either the warm-up or the cool-down, which one would you choose? Oh man, sometimes that depends. I work a job that at least occasionally keeps me relatively physically active. My slowly developing fitness IQ is telling me that on some days it may be better to shorten or skip some of the general warm-up in favor of doing my mobility/stretching after the workout. For example, yesterday's AMRAP with the 200-meter runs, the farmer's carry, and the V-ups. I had already logged over 15,000 steps and had been opening and closing fire hydrants all day long. Had to carry tools for most of those 15,000 steps. By the time I got around to the workout, it was late enough that I decided to skip the warm-up and allow myself time after the workout to do mobility. Was that a wise choice? If I made that decision more often, will I end up regretting it? Okay, whether you should shorten or skip the warm-up or the cool-down, I think this really depends on, I hate to give an unsatisfying answer, the athlete and what's the workout. Okay, so for example, because I think each of us has these things you could relate to. So I use myself as an example, maybe you can relate to it. Depends what the workout is, right? I'm frequently rushed for time. I get just caught doing, Linchpin stuff here, and all of a sudden I realize I've also got 3 kids, got to run and do that, and all of a sudden, like, dinner has to get made, and, like, I didn't have the time I thought I'd have to work out. It's just one of those things. Like, suddenly we have less time. Does the workout involve something with my shoulders? There's no way that I can skip the warm-up. It's a physical impossibility. Those shoulders need to get warm or they're just not going to work right. I've had a total hip replacement. Does the workout involve going below parallel? I'm going to have to warm up. There's apps, I don't care if we're just doing air squats. It doesn't even have to involve loading. I have to warm up. On that day, I would warm up, do the workout, and if I was pressed for time, the cool down wouldn't happen. Now, the workout like you mentioned the other day, which has 200-meter runs, farmers carries, and V-ups, that is absolutely the sort of workout that I feel a fair number of people, if life demanded it, could almost jump right into. And maybe the first couple 200-meter runs aren't something that Usain Bolt would be proud of, but you're getting going. Yes, the farmer's carry feels extra heavy initially, and where's my coordination in the V-ups? And after a couple of rounds, you settle in, you start picking up a little bit. I think you could absolutely blow off a warm-up for something like that day, for sure, and make it happen. So it just depends. So I think you are, based upon what life dealt you in those particular days, it sounds like you know yourself, you know what the workout was, you use that fitness IQ and you're making it happen. And so that's that. Yeah, I think you're 100% good to go. Oh, I see Kenji here in the YouTube comments. I will never skip a sprint warm up. Amen to that, my friend. Amen to that. If we're sprinting, like I said, as far as I'm concerned, sprinting is more taxing and demanding on your posterior chain than a 20 rep back squat. I'll die on that hill. I mean, it is. You better talk about respect the heavy days. You better respect those sprint days. Final question from Henry P. Would it be all right if I never back squatted again? Oh my goodness. Henry, here we go. Truth be told, back squatting puts my shoulders in a weird position that doesn't treat them so great. Maybe it's lazy, maybe I should address the shoulder problem, but my instinct is that I would be all right with front squatting and the various other below parallel movements that are included in the program. Would be interested to know what you think, Pat. Thank you. Okay, so you've already said the other thing, right? Which is, do you have something which can be addressed and can be fixed? Because more tools in your tool bag would be a good thing. If on top of all the other ways that you can go below parallel, you also have the opportunity to back squat pain-free, that's a good thing. So we should pursue that. Let's just assume you're pursuing that, and let's just assume you came across definitive, conclusive evidence that your shoulder problem was never going to go away and you were always going to have this pain back squatting. Well, that you don't want to have pain doing the movement, and so now the back squat is off the table. And your question is, would you be okay if you never back squatted again, but you can front squat? Easiest question of the day. Yes, you'd be totally fine. 100% fine. I mean, I don't even know what else to say. You'd have no worries in this whole world, my friend. You'd be working that front rack position. You'd be demanding. You'd have to have a nice upright torso. Are you going to be moving, for most people, the load that you can move on a back squat? No, but it will still be profoundly heavier than anything else you're doing, and plenty heavy on singles, doubles, triples, or whatever, to make you as fit and as strong as you need to be for all of your time on planet Earth. You'll be good to go. And then, like you said, you're also going to be able to do lunges and split squats. I mean, all the other good stuff. You are totally good to go, Henry. Hope you work on it. Hope you find a solution for it. But if not, you're good. I think, my friends, those are all the questions. Okay? Well, I hope you have a great day. It's Thursday. It's a rest day. I love my rest days. I'm going to hop on the computer and just get back at it. So wherever you are in the world, keep being kind to one another. I feel like we could probably use that. And I will see you online for some more support and some more fitness. Enjoy, everybody.